Hey everybody, my name is Eric.
My name is Tacondra, and welcome to Building with the Browns.
We are super excited to bring you fresh revelation and perspectives based on our life experiences.
Yes, we are all about laying foundational truths regarding marriage, love, faith, family, finances, and more that are built to last.
We hope you enjoy Building with the Browns. Hey girl.
Hey boy. I ain't want to say hey boy. So what we talking about today?
What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing?
Oh yeah, I forgot about y'all. Hey.
Right.
So, yeah, we don't have a song?
No.
Are we doing something different today?
Yeah, we're doing a little different.
What were we doing?
One, I want to talk about safety.
We do have a song.
We do have a song. I wonder who sings it.
I don't know. You sing it. Let me see what it sounds like.
I find safety in your arms.
That is not...
Love.
I find safety in your arms. Whose song is that?
That's your song.
Arms?
It don't say arms. Oh, it say safety in your love. I find safety in your love. Love. Why I say arms? But I do find safety in your arms.
Do you? So safety.
Yeah.
In your love. Of course, I was talking about God. The love of God.
Of course, but we don't always feel safe.
Some of us don't feel safe in our own homes.
Right. Safe with our emotions.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the safety in marriage, like these spaces where people don't always feel safe.
Yeah.
Because I think we sometimes allow what we see on social media, especially when it comes to married people. We don't always see the vulnerable spaces, or we don't always see the struggles where people struggle with intimacy. They struggle with having a safe space emotionally in their marriage. We can talk about communication issues all day, but a lot of the times communication issues are rooted in something deeper.
Yeah. Like
not feeling safe with my emotions. Like that's a real struggle in marriage and relationships, period.
Especially if it's a place where you feel like you're gonna be attacked.
Absolutely.
Based on how you feel. So who goes to a place where there's a threat of attack? I'm not gonna feel safe if that place just got robbed 6 times in the last week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna avoid that place as much as possible. But by doing that, as it pertains to marriage and communication and being with your spouse, when you avoid things, you become prisoner of those things, but you also pull away from the person that you should feel the safest with, because you do share some level of intimacy, whether it be physical, emotional, or spiritual.
Absolutely. And safety matters. I think if we even dig into the roots of issues with being and feeling safe in relationships with people, especially emotionally, we can go back to our childhood. Like for me, I haven't always felt safe with sharing my emotions, which is like the vulnerable side of me.
Right.
The most authentic side of me. Because, you see me and I can put on a strong front because I'm just a strong woman, but there's a soft side of me that not many people get to see, and even you.
Absolutely.
We'll be honest. Like I remember for the longest time, I would always tell him, I don't feel like I can cry in front of you. And I didn't understand why. Part of me was always feeling like unsafe or uncovered, or like I have to be strong for myself. You can't see me cry.
Right.
Because I didn't trust you with my emotions. I didn't feel safe giving you those vulnerable parts of me all the time. I mean, you've seen me cry, but when it really mattered, I would self-soothe, and that was rooted in my childhood. So some of you may be struggling with sharing your emotions in relationships, specifically in marriage, with your spouse, because you didn't have a safe space to share your emotions growing up as a child. And for me, I wrote about this in my book, how my childhood wasn't always peaches and cream, but you would have never known, because I was grateful for my mom and dad and what they provided for us and things of that nature. But my parents used to go at it, like throw them bowls type going at it.
Mike Tyson punch out.
Okay. They did, thank God, they got delivered. But you don't always realize the effects of the things that happen in your childhood, how they affect you later on in life, in your adulthood, in different areas.
Yeah.
So me not always feeling like I had a safe space, and it really didn't dawn on me till recently, honestly, where I was like, darn, where did this me looking for a safe space come from? Like, what is this rooted in? I thought it was just you. It was just like you did not provide a safe space for me. I was putting it on him.
What?
I was putting it on him, y'all. I was like, it's you. But the Holy Spirit highlighted to me that this was something rooted in my childhood. And it was the memories of me waiting to see, well, when's the next sound of somebody fighting? You know, where's that coming from? Or when am I going to have to jump up and go, you know, to my mom's rescue or whatever it was that I was dealing with as a child. So throughout my life, I had a hard time finding a safe space to convey my emotions, to be vulnerable, to be my true authentic self, because I felt like I was always in survival mode or I was always in fight or flight mode, or, you know, that strong mode. So it spilled over into our marriage and into how I emotionally connected with you. Now, there are some other things that have hindered our ability to foster that emotional safety in our marriage, especially with my husband being, you know, military, him going to war. And I'll let you talk a little bit about that, how that affected us. But I know for me, instead of me saying, okay, it's just been you, because he used to be very emotionally disconnected.
Right.
And so I would just self-soothe. I would turn to myself, and, you know, that ain't always the best. So you want to tap in?
Yeah. So you touched on your childhood, and that's the root of a lot of us, a lot of things that we deal with. We try not to do what we saw our parents do. And so a lot of times what we focus on is the bad things and say, you know what, in my marriage, I'm not going to do that. Like, we don't have domestic violence issues. We're not putting our hands on each other. You know, that's not going to be a way for us to solve or fight when we have a disagreement. On my side, I didn't get a chance to see my parents really argue that I can remember. But I'm sure they had arguments because their marriage didn't last. And so my depiction of marriage was my grandparents. My grandmother bickered a lot. She complained and things like that. But my granddad was just, you know, he was just, I don't know. I always say he was just bulletproof. Like, he can just take her words and it not really, I never seen it really affect him. I never seen him cry. I never, you know what I mean? Like,
what role did that play in shaping who you are? Because you sound like your grandfather a little bit.
I probably do. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, although, you know, and he was prior military as well, so it could have been some of that played a role. But just hearing you talk about it, I'm like, well, you sound like your granddaddy.
So what I was gonna say with my mom, I'm gonna bring her back into this. I never saw her cry. To a certain extent, right? And so even with that, like, so for me to see a woman cry, it's just foreign outside of church. You know, obviously when you move by the Spirit and you this and that, yeah, you're gonna cry all the time. But like, to actually see a woman weep or to just be tired or just be vulnerable, I didn't see it enough. I don't even remember seeing my grandmother cry. She was just a hard-nosed person, you know what I mean? Like, just very stuck in her ways, but was just strong. And so those are the things that I saw in you. And so, yeah, I probably fumbled the bag a lot when it came to you not being able to cry around me and to be able to just let your emotions be free. So some of it I did contribute, but a lot of it was from my end where I just didn't know how to handle that. I didn't know what to do with that.
We didn't know what we didn't know.
So here's the thing, right? The alarm would go off in my head. When you cry, I did something wrong. When probably 6 times out of 10, I didn't do nothing wrong. The other 4 times, we're not talking about that.
4 times out of 10.
Okay. I knew she was going to downplay my numbers, y'all. But the other times were just either you tired or you miss me, or it didn't even have to do nothing with me. It could have
it could have been me just being in my own mind.
You just being a woman.
Wait a minute now.
I'm not saying that only women cry, because I've learned to cry. I don't cry as much as I probably need to, but
you need to cry. Crying is good for y'all. Like, crying they could be many things. They could be healing tears, they could be liquid prayers, you know,
all of that,
cleansing.
Yes,
you need to let some of this stuff out. Let it out.
But a lot of men scream.
No,
we don't always cry.
Well, that's the problem. Y'all need to cry.
No, we give a good little roar.
No, forget that being all manly and stuff. Well, y'all need to cry.
But you know what that's rooted in?
Pride.
Every time I would cry as a little boy.
Look at me, I'm talking about pride.
No, but every time I would fall or hurt myself or cry or do anything as a little boy, the first thing I would hear was,
don't
stop crying.
Yeah.
Get up. You're a boy.
And that's where parents fail.
Absolutely.
Especially men,
I
right?
do it with my nephews right now, and I catch myself. I be like, it's okay to cry, but why are you crying?
Right.
Let's figure out what it is. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Males are conditioned to deny a part of them that's human. Like, God created you because he has male characteristics and female characteristics, and you're denying a part of who you are, who God created you to be when you say don't cry. No, I'm gonna cry, this hurts.
Yep. That's something I love about your dad, and he's taught me.
Yeah,
he is a very emotional person.
He is.
Obviously,
I don't know
at this point, I don't know either. But like in times where you wouldn't expect him to cry, he'd be crying.
Oh gosh!
But it's not one of those cries where it's like, oh, help me, I'm stuck and this and that. No, he's really in the moment.
He's very in touch with his emotions. Yeah. And I admire that. It breaks my heart because I'm a sucker. That's why I don't like for you to cry either.
Yeah.
I think that's why, because it's something about a man crying that just break me down. Am I the only woman out there? You see a man cry, okay, especially because my daddy cry. If my daddy cry, get ready for the waterworks to start flowing. Yeah. So for me, I love that though, because it shows that you're in touch with your human emotions. Yeah. Like, you don't cry. I used to think you was a robot. Like, what's wrong with him? Like, are you human? Like, I know the military, conditioned you, but god dang, like, that's straight up a reality that a lot of military wives deal with when it comes to their husbands. You're taught to be emotionless or to hide it.
Or to have your emotions by yourself. Yeah. I spent a lot of time by myself, and a lot of times I would cry by myself, but I still don't know how to communicate that to you. Yeah. Like, babe, I just was crying last night. Like, for me to say
I'm
that,
like, me too,
right? And but then for me to say that, you be like, then I don't know. In my mind, you're like, well, what you crying for? Just stop crying. Because if you don't want to be there, don't be there. I don't know.
Look, now you need deliverance from this narrator voice. Right? But it could be that voice, that childhood voice. You know what I'm saying? It could be that childhood, that narrative. Who was that voice in your childhood, and you carry that over into your adulthood?
I tell you all the time. So the best way to get me to cry is put on Undercover Boss.
Really? Because
I love to see good things happen to people.
That's the only time I see him cry for real.
I don't know why, but that show just makes me I turn into the waterworks.
What you be talking about? Like, why you crying? Who cut the fan on?
Like, who cutting onions in here? Yeah, episode after episode.
Like, your eyeballs wet. Oh, you're human,
right? Yeah,
you're human. So I think we do ourselves a disservice, especially when we've conditioned ourselves to deny what we're feeling and to share that. I feel like emotional safety is by far a foundation for a loving and healthy relationship, and we rob ourselves of that, especially for us, you guys. If you don't know our story, we married at a young age. We have quite the unconventional story. We grew up together, but our foundation had cracks in it, and it wasn't until over the last 6 years where God has just been mending those cracks and putting together the broken pieces and restoring and healing, because we grew up together, and then we had a child who grew up with us. Right. So can you imagine the work that has to be done, the healing that has to be done, because we pass on what sometimes we think is wisdom, but it's wounds wrapped in the form of wisdom, and we pass those wounds on to our children. Right. Our parents, we can't blame them. They did the best they could with what they had when it came to us, but some of that wisdom that's passed on, it's not wisdom, it's wounds wrapped up in the form of wisdom. And so you have to really do the work. You have to really confront these issues and these patterns and break down these walls that stand in between you and your spouse having a healthy relationship, having a healthy foundation as it relates to emotional safety, intimacy, so many other things in your marriage. And like I said, for me, getting to the root is always the solution to remedying the fruit. You want a different outcome, you want to taste some different fruit in your marriage, you got to get to root of some of these things.
So at this point in our relationship, would you say you're in a safer place now than you were before?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's being real. Like, just since that came to my awareness, I feel safe. It was like a wall came down, because it was like, no, I'm not just blaming you and you being a robot, having robot tendencies. Right. But it's like, no, this is childhood stuff. Yeah. And so God can't heal what you won't reveal. Right.
Absolutely.
And especially what you won't confront, because it's easy sometimes to project. It's easy to deflect. And, I've done that in the past, and it's like, no, look within. Right. And then look beneath.
Right.
Look down deep into those roots and say, wow, this isn't just happening because it's happening.
Absolutely.
No, this is something that has to be dealt with that goes way back beyond who's standing in front of you.
Yeah. There's so much about emotional intelligence that we neglect trying to gain intelligence on another level, like with books and skills and things like that, and we neglect our emotions and we become what you just called me, a robot. Where in certain circumstances it's good, because if all of us crying, who fighting? If there's something going on, we all can't just be distraught. And
why not?
Someone has to be there. Well, because
I'm like, let's just be distraught together.
But there's always
all right, then get it together.
But we sometimes just need an embrace.
Exactly.
And then in that embrace, then we start crying. But like, if I ain't, you laid out on the floor over there and I'm laid out over here, well,
we just be laid out. Just
anyway.
Shoot, I'm just saying that sometimes that's
someone
what
has
it
to
takes.
comfort. There has to be some comfort somewhere.
Well, we comfort. You just said we get up off the floor and comfort each other.
Yeah, at some point.
No, see, your robot talking. Both of us can be down.
All right.
Both of us can be vulnerable.
Y'all, I'm gonna test this out. I'm gonna just fall out.
No.
See if she fall out with me.
Not in for real.
Not like I'm talking about fall out on the floor and cry.
I'm gonna get down there and cry with you.
Okay, I'm just all right.
Oh, you already know. It don't take but 2 seconds for these waterworks.
Let's go watch Undercover Boss.
Come on, let's go. We already be over there crying together. That's what y'all do. Okay, if you and your husband or your wife having problems with emotional safety and your maternal undercover boss and watch the show together, I guarantee you it's gonna tear down some walls.
All right.
You're gonna feel more valuable and valued because you can be yourself without being judged. And that's important.
That's exactly what I was trying to get to.
Well, I don't be judging you because you be over there crying.
That's the next point. Like this, get to a place to where you don't feel judged. And husbands, when your wife cry, it doesn't mean fix it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Because that's another thing that I've done or I've tried to do. Like, well, what can I fix? Can I fix it?
I don't need to fix nothing.
No, I don't need to fix. Just need me. I just need you to hold me. Don't even say that. Just hold me.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
We women, we relational.
Absolutely.
We need hugs.
And believe it or not, men are physical and we need hugs.
I bet you want a hug right now, don't you?
Yeah. That warm embrace.
No, y'all want them hugs.
but we do.
Y'all want something. We be like, give me the hug. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, I believe all of our emotional interaction can be jump started with physical interaction. I said jump started. I don't mean that it's gonna keep it running, but it'll get it started.
So you mean just like touching each other?
Yeah.
In what way?
So most of us men, I believe we all have these walls that we have up, and they're walls to protect our heart, protect our manhood, protect our pride, protect us feeling macho, all of that stuff, right? But there's a way you can touch me. So with your touch in different places and different areas can bring down a multitude of walls that I have up.
That men have up.
Yes. And
okay,
then
men.
Your touch. And then the next one, this is my last one, your tone.
Okay. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Boys respond to their mothers. Think about that. Most boys and most men, they respond to how their mother talked to them. And not to say that their wife has to sound like their mother, but there has to be a nurturing tone that I'm taking you to a place to where I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to hold you in this space for however long I need to hold you until you're back up into strength.
But then on the flip side of that, there are some who didn't have a nurturing mother. So how would they respond when it comes to tone? Because some people were abused. Some men were abused by their moms. So in that case, it would definitely be different.
Right.
So yeah, there are different things that you can look at. That's why it's always important to get to the root and find ways that work for you. Because if a guy had an issue with his mom's tone, that would be a trigger.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That would be a trigger, for him.
Yeah.
And triggers point to areas that need healing in you,
Yeah.
And so, well, what else you got to say about this intro? This was so random.
Yeah, I know.
But it was random. It was good to talk about, I guess.
Yeah. That's what we're here for.
I guess so, huh?
Yeah.
You ready to go cry? I'm ready.
Sure.
So you guys, I guess the whole point of having this podcast today was to
find your safe space with your spouse.
Create a safe
space.
That's more important, yeah.
That you can be vulnerable, that you can be, I don't want to say broken, but you can be in a place to where you're not held to society's standard or what society thinks a man or a woman should be.
Yeah.
You know?
I would say one of the ways that you can increase safety and security in creating those spaces is to set boundaries, respect limitations, honor those boundaries, and just give yourself grace.
Yeah.
Give your spouse grace, because I know they won't always get it right, the first time,
Or the second time.
Or the third time. Maybe. No, it's a journey,
yeah, it's a journey.
It's a journey. So don't set high expectations, and protect yourself from giving up, by having realistic expectations, setting those boundaries and those expectations, and communicating what's comfortable for you, what's not comfortable for you.
Yeah.
Because some of us don't even communicate that. We just don't say nothing at all. And that doesn't make, matters better. It makes it worse. So communicate that, babe. And that's how it started with us.
Yeah.
Like I would communicate it, and I would say, babe, I don't feel safe with this, with you. I don't know why.
Right.
But I want you to know this is an area that I'm struggling with. And I'm telling you because I want to heal this. I want this to be better, right? So be honest and communicate what you're feeling, what you're experiencing. And for those who are receiving, honor that.
Yep.
Honor the honest communication instead of being offended by it. Because you could have easily took, offense to me saying, what, you don't feel safe
right
with this? Like, well, hold up.
Well, yeah, I've been here all these years and you still don't feel safe with me?
Like, what? I don't feel safe with you. You know what I'm saying? We could have easily went back and forth.
Right.
But just listen. Just listening and leaving that awkward space, for silence. Like sometimes you don't need to respond with an answer. Like just let it hang in the balance until a solution or an answer like this. The Holy Spirit was like, girl, this is deeper than just you and him. This goes back to childhood. Be okay with that silence, because God just might reveal some things to you.
Absolutely. And it will heal you and it will change you.
Absolutely. So I hope that something you heard in this podcast today inspired some healing in you, and maybe even provoked some change or challenged you to think differently, to think another thing, and to do a different thing.
Right.
Especially in your marriage, if you're married, or in relationships, period. So that's it, you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to speaking with you on the next episode of Building with the Browns.